Okay, so good evening. It's Monday night. This is our big Optavia night. If everybody was heard Dr. A at 8 o'clock, and then at 8:30 was that wonderful training with Carol Hips. She did a great training on social media. Trying to post those 8:30 or 5:30 in California field trainings on our page, on our team page. So if you do miss them, you can go there and watch them sometime during the week. We did change the name of the Janet's team page to Health Warriors. So you might have all noticed that. And tonight we wanted to talk about team coaching and why Optavia has grown so much in the past, I don't know, 6 to 12 months since organizations have implemented this team coaching approach, and what's so great about it and why it's so important. So one of the things that we do with team coaching is when we bring a new coach on, we encourage you to be doing health assessments with your business mentor. Why? You're learning. It's called Learn While You Earn. So you get to hear your business sponsor doing the health assessment, and you get to hear what kinds of questions they're asking and how they're responding to any objections. And also, your prospective client is meeting your business coach. So if that person does come on board, a week or two in, when it's time for the tip call, that client has already met your coach. So that's great, and it's a great way for you to learn. And with a new coach, usually we'll talk about doing maybe 5 health assessments together, and it depends. Some new coaches catch on quicker than others. We want a new coach to be comfortable before they start doing health assessments, and then it's great for them to do one while we listen, and then after the call we can kind of talk about it and see how you think it went, and what kind of advice your sponsor might have. And hopefully everybody is very open to that, because as your business sponsor, we're here to help you. And we like when people are open to being coachable, because we're only offering advice in your best interest to help you grow. So that's at the beginning. And then and the next thing is that we want to talk about tip calls, or we call them tip calls. They can also be called celebration calls. We're going to call them tip calls in this organization. Did anybody watch the training with Terry Miller and who was it? What's her name? Nora, what's her name? You're muted.
I'm drawing a blank on her name too. Tiffany Howard.
Yes. It was on May 20th, and I'm going to post it on our team page right after this. It's been posted there before, but it's kind of, you have to scroll back to find it. So did anybody remember watching that one when they talked about tip calls? Okay, then I'm glad that we're talking about it. So we'll talk about it today, and then I would recommend you watch that training, because it's very thorough. This is going to be a little bit more brief. But so the point of a tip call is, once your client is on program for, let's say, a week or 2 weeks, maybe even 3, it doesn't have to be any specific time, but within their first few weeks, it would be great for you to say, hey, I'd love for you to meet my coach. She loves to hear about people's success, and she or he will be able to offer you some great tips. Now, they may or may, if you're new and you've already had a health assessment with your coach, they might know who it is and say, oh, I'd love for you to check in with Nora. She'd love to hear how you're doing, if they knew Nora already. So then you organize the time, and it's up to you as a coach to reach out to your business mentor to see if if they can do the tip call with you. Your coach is not going to reach out to you and say, hey, let's do a tip call with your clients. This is up to you. You don't have to do it with every single client, but especially with a client who you feel might have potential to be a great coach, or that you feel this client might benefit from coaching because you feel that the community and the accountability will be a great thing for them. We know that when somebody comes on board as a coach, it helps their accountability. And some people come on really early, like Dina. Tracy, I know you came on early. Do you want to share what that has been like for you, and a little bit about what you've done in timing? I'll unmute you. Okay, you're on.
What do you mean timing as far as?
Well, maybe just share like what like your story, like why you came on as a coach, and when you became a client, when you became a coach, and how that's been working for you.
Actually, they happened at the same time. I was interested in coaching. I have a background in sports nutrition. I actually have a certificate, and I've coached CrossFit for a few years, and I was pretty successful managing things. And we had a little business, but it wasn't going well. So I was looking for another avenue, another place to coach. And I was also struggling. I developed some bad habits over the past year. So I was looking for an avenue to take off those extra pounds that I put on. So I did both things at the same time.
Okay.
So I guess Amy did, I don't remember how many health assessments with me in the beginning. I think 3. And then they were starting to just sort of happen. Kind of people were asking me questions and I couldn't get her on the phone because it was happening right then in the moment. So I kind of had literally on the job training. I just started doing them. And then she did a couple of the tip calls with me. So it was really helpful just to hear her interact with the clients so that I have a better idea of what's expected. I tend to feel like I'm getting called to the principal's office a lot. I always have a guilty conscience. So I always feel like I'm doing something wrong. But I like the flexibility and I like being able to hear her interact with my clients. And it was good for them too, because they got to know her in the event that I'm not available. They have backup now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure nobody means for you to feel like you're going to the principal's office.
No, I know that's me. That's me. It's not anything that's happened. It's not like that at all. It's not at all.
Yeah, it's tricky because as a business mentor, we want to we always want to help our coaches, and so we want to point out what you've done that's well, but we want to also point out things that we've learned that might work better. So that's being coachable and teachable, and sometimes it is hard, but
no, I appreciate that a lot actually. But I also like that there's not the pressure, I guess, is kind of removed from, well, this client said no, well, that's okay. Just put it here and it's a not yet. That's more what I mean than.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with the tip calls, Tracy brings up a good point. She's a fairly new coach. Some of the people she's brought on her own because of whatever reason, which is fine and great. Obviously you're very skilled at that. And what a tip call is also is that you get to hear somebody else's coaching style. So, the other thing is I might be coaching a client and telling them certain things or suggesting certain things. And now let's say I bring on Nora for a tip call and Nora says something that maybe was just what I said, but all of a sudden they hear it. It's like when mom tells the kid something and the kid doesn't hear it, but the teacher tells the kid and all of a sudden the kid gets it. So it's always good to hear. And, clients love having that second coaching support. They love being celebrated and they love hearing from somebody else. And, this other coach that's doing the tip call is going to say, look, here's my number. Feel free to reach out to me as well if you can't reach Tracy. So it's really another layer of support for the clients. And, my experience is that they really loved it. So with my voice, I'm gonna ask Nora to share a little bit more about tip calls now, and maybe some experience that you've had, or maybe Karen wants to pipe in, or I'd like to hear from some people who have had tip calls with their clients and what that has done.
Yeah, well, we've used tip calls on my team a lot in the last.
Not wine, by the way. It's seltzer. Sorry.
Years. In the last 6 months, because it's something that the organization has always shared for us to do, or encouraged us to do. And I think we were a little reluctant to do it, thinking my client doesn't want to get on another call with somebody else. But what we just did was put it in a terms of, this is what we do. And we bring on a coach. We don't even ask permission from the client. We just bring on, I'm there to help support my coach's new clients in that first 2 weeks. We'd like to do a tip call between the 7 and 10 day mark, ideally. Sometimes that doesn't always happen, but within the first 2 weeks. And then often again, like at 30 days or major milestones for those clients. Because as we share that the more success that people, or the more support that people have, the more success that they're going to have on their health journey. So it's really simple. It's not meant to take a lot of time. And it's really kind of a systems check. And there are things that the coach does with the client on those first 3 to 5 days as that client is moving into fat burn. But often when a third party comes in, like Janet said, other little nuances kind of sneak in or come up. And as the coach, sometimes you have to let your ego go at the door, because this isn't about you, it's about the client. And so things often pop up that you're like, I told that person several times, but they didn't hear it from me, but they heard it from the other person. So just like Janet said, it's really important to check your ego. When the coach introduces the mentor coach, it's really important for the coach to say, I'm so excited for you to meet my mentor coach, or my fellow coach, Janet Blum. And go ahead and take it away, Nora. This is a great opportunity. Or Janet, go ahead and take it away. This is a great opportunity for you to get to know each other and to get a little extra support. As the coach, you then mute yourself out, so that the flow of the conversation could go really easily, and have the mentor coach go ahead and ask questions. And my first question is always like, I hear you're doing great on plan. How are you feeling? And then give that person a few minutes or a minute to talk about how are they feeling. You pick up on how they're feeling. Then it's like, how is your sleep? How are your lean and greens going? Are you getting all your water in? You know, how are you doing with the fuelings? Great. You get that systems check. You find maybe where might be some missing links in there for the client. Help fill them in. If they're having issues over any of those things, I'm sure they'll come up and they'll talk about them. And then the job of the mentor coach is to edify the coach and say, Janet is doing a fabulous job. She's a great coach. Stay really close to her. She's going to help you through those rough days. She's going to help you through those great days. Don't shy away from reaching out. Make sure you have your weekly check-ins with her. And I always give 4 tips, you know, when we're talking. So first is always stay close to your coach. They've walked this journey themselves. Second is keep drinking all your water. Keep eating every 2 to 3 hours. And that's where you're going to get the best results. Third is, are you checking out our Facebook community? Make sure you get engaged in there. We post some great things, recipes and tips. And then my 4th one is to mention our Habits of Health calls and ask them if they're participating or watching them on Wednesdays, or if they've seen the podcast or the YouTube. And a lot of times they say no, or they'll say, oh yeah, I'm watching those little videos my coach is sending me every week. And I'll say, great, well, these are another step above, another step to work on your mindset through this process. And I'll mention a good one, you know, and say, you know, we post them in the Journey to Optimal Health page. They're there occasionally. You can also just search YouTube Habits of Health, and they'll come up there. Also, if you're more of a podcast listener, do the same thing. You kind of walk them through where to find them. And then as the mentor coach, I say, okay, great to meet you. Thank you for taking time out of your day to meet with me. I'm going to jump off the phone and go ahead and continue to talk with your coach, and I look forward to talking to you in 30 days. So it's really important. You do not do tip calls by yourself. You bring in your third party. So that's where if your direct sponsor or your direct coach is not available, then the next mentor is there. You know, we do it as a team. That's why we do team coaching. So Janet does them with me. I do them with Janet. We're kind of each other's team people. You know, we're all here to help each other. So don't shy away from asking them. I do like to have my team see who they can bring to the table every week. You know, who are the people that they want to bring, but it's their job to bring them to me. I can't go around and do it. So we have seen tremendous growth in our team. I think it created a great buzz with our coaches and our clients. Everybody seems to love them. So I will tell you, from a year ago when Optavia was telling us to do celebration calls, it felt weird and it felt awkward, where now they're so natural. Everybody loves them. I can't tell you enough that it encouraged people to come on board earlier and do them as much as you can. Not just at the 7 to 10 day mark, but if you have a client that's struggling, pull in your mentor coach for a tip call. At the 30-day mark, pull in your mentor coach. We're there. You know, it just shows more support.
So it brings about more community, and it also shows that client how much support their coach gets. So when it comes time to maybe them thinking about coaching themselves, they're not going to be as overwhelmed. And you know, that's another piece, like where the mentor coach can, you know, talk to this client and say, you know, repeat on all the great things that they're feeling, like, wow, you know, your knees are feeling better and you're breathing better, and can you believe how good you feel in just 2 weeks? Could you imagine how many other people, you know, could benefit from this? Who do you know that might benefit from this? You know, would you be willing to live out loud and maybe post something on Facebook, just, you know, just like maybe saying something about how great you feel and how much energy you have, and maybe even like tagging me, because I bet you there's a lot of your Facebook friends who might be looking for something and you can inspire them. And that's a whole nother piece of the tip calls, because a lot of times clients are willing to do that and live out loud and post something on Facebook, and it's getting a lot of attention. And what you can tell them is, if you tag me, you know, you don't have to start explaining the program. I'll be seeing the posts, and if somebody's asking what you're doing, I can always introduce myself in a private message and offer them a health assessment. And what's happening? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one question I always ask too is, are people noticing?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll say yes or no, and then it's an opportunity to train the client how to refer business back to you, because they don't naturally know how to do that. And their first instinct is to really talk about Optavia, and you want to teach them to talk about you as a coach and their journey.
And I think the tip calls and the agreement of a client to live out loud and maybe post something on Facebook about how great they're feeling and how much energy they have since they started working with a health coach, Nora Walsh, or, you know, whatever the coach is, tagging the coach. You know, you can just say to them, you know, just sit back and thank people for the encouragement. And if people ask what program, you don't even need to respond. You know, I can comment and say, I'm Nora's health coach. I'll private message you. And then when I go ahead and private message them, some of them are like, you know, what is this? I need to lose weight. And what I'll say to them is, you know what, I'd be happy to do a health assessment with you. When is a good time for a call? And I can do a health assessment with that person. If they want to come on board as a client, I might go back to my client and say, look, you know, a couple of your Facebook friends, they want to get started. Do you want to coach them with me? They could be your first clients. And I'll coach them. You come along, you can assist. They're going to ask you questions anyway. And this is how a lot of people are coming on board as a coach very early on. And they don't have to have reached their goals, because what are they doing? They're just inspiring and bringing people along the journey with them. They're just walking arm in arm with their friends. And at the same time, we're coaching their friends and them. And you know, they know the 5 and 1. They've been on it for a couple of weeks. There's not much more you got to know. It doesn't matter that they've reached their journey yet. So many of us are coaching people while we're all still on the journey, right? Whether we're at our healthy weight or not, we're all still on the journey. So when you listen to the training that I'm going to post a little later on, that was on May 20th, they're going to go into a little bit more depth on these tip calls. You don't have to bring every client to a tip call. You know, honestly, if you feel like there's somebody who's going to benefit from it and they could use the extra support, and maybe you think they have a great personality and they could even benefit from coaching, those are the people that you want to bring on. You got to use your judgment. There are some clients that you have enough trouble getting them on the phone with you, and you don't think they're going to really, do well with this. But I think showing them the community, the support, the extra layer of support, dripping on them and inviting them to maybe live out loud on Facebook, and maybe they even want to join us. Listen, those people of your friends who want to do the program, I can give you a $25 referral fee, or maybe you want to partner with us and help to come alongside me and help them, and if you get 5 people going in the first 30 days, you'll earn about $456. How does that sound? Okay, so I think bringing people on early, it has a lot of benefits. And Jackie, are you there? Are you able to talk?
I am.
Did you want to speak to bringing people on early?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually just gonna, when you were done, I was gonna kind of raise my hand, but just speaking to what Janet's saying, something recently happened to me, and I had a new client. Well, I had a client that I didn't even ask to post on Facebook, and she did anyway, and she tagged me. She had a friend that commented. She actually wrote, my health coach has some openings. It doesn't happen very often, but if you're looking to get healthy, reach out ASAP, because she fills up quickly. So she had like a bunch of responses, and one was this woman, and I reached out to her. I did a health assessment. She signed on, and she actually had a great health assessment with me and couldn't afford the program. But she was crying at the end of the health assessment, like excited and like finally feeling like she could do it. And I said, a lot of people that can't afford to do the program decide to coach to finance their journey. And she said, I didn't know that was an option. And I said, well, if you'd like to hear about it, so I told her about coaching. She went on Dominic and Rita's Lunchtime Trilogy. She signed on to coach before she even ordered food, because she only had the money to do that. I lent her food. Then a week in, she posted, and her friend came on board, did a health assessment, came on board as a client. And I told her that Grace would offer her referral fees. And she said, forget referral fees. If Grace is coaching, why wouldn't I coach? So in like 6 days, I had 2 coaches, both of whom it was just a very natural progression because of these Facebook posts. And neither one of them felt intimidated to come on board, because I just made it like that's what we do. It's always an option.
And you've been working right alongside with them, obviously doing the health assessments of the people that they bring in, and you're coaching those people right alongside. So they're getting their own coaching while they're also having clients, but they're not taking care of the clients all by themselves because they're so brand new, and they're learning as they go, and they're tapping into all the trainings and working very closely with you so that they're being trained to coach at the same time that they're doing program.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, show them how to do it, watch them do it, and then send them off to do it on their own. I mean, that's what's going on now. We're in the watching at some points. And it's very funny because the one who came on second is the one that's really doing really well in the coaching aspect. So you just never know who it's going to end up being. But yes, we have 3-way chats going. They're all in the groups together. We're co-coaching basically. And they're loving it. And one of them is coming to convention.
So they're not only working on healthy body and healthy mind, but at the very same time, they're working on healthy finances. So they're really getting the trilogy. They're getting the trilogy all at once. And I think sometimes we are fearful of bringing clients on as coaches, thinking they have to reach their healthy weight first. And it's just not true. There's so many people that are coming on early now, and their excitement level is up to here, because not only are they, the excitement of a client that first month when the weight is coming off and it's coming off and they're feeling amazing. well, when they're also seeing their finances improve at the same time, like they're losing the weight and they're also starting to make some money and build a business at the same time, that excitement level goes even higher. So, that's what we offer. The tip calls are a great way to have that. It's not going to happen for every person, but if we do the tip calls more regularly, there's more likelihood that people are going to, love the community, want to be part of the community, and want to join us as coaches. So we got just a couple of minutes to open it up for questions or comments or anything, and then we will post that training. Claire.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that something like that should be said on Facebook if we're promoting this? Something to the effect of not only do you have a healthy mind or a healthy body with this program, but you can make healthy finances? Just ask. Is that something to put out in the front or not at all?
Anybody want to comment on that?
It's the full trilogy. Optavia offers the full trilogy, and I think that we often shy away from offering the full trilogy, and I think it's totally fine to do it. I do different posts where sometimes that's what I talk about. I talk about, what being a coach has given to me and offered me, and the time and financial freedom that I get because of that. And a lot of that comes from living out loud on Facebook. So, you can go health, you can go mind, you can go finances, and you can do a post that does all of it. I don't think you should shy away from it. That's, I think as a new coach, we tend to shy away from the finances because you are just growing and you're just
Right.
getting finances yourself. So you feel like you don't have the proof in the pudding, for lack of a better word. But it's definitely there. And there's many coaches on our team that can and speak on that behalf. But, do it in a way that feels natural and good to you. It's not a salesy thing.
Right.
And
Thank you.
I don't know that you have to say, ask me or message me, because I think people, if they want to ask, they will. So I think when you're posting, it's not necessary to say, ask me if you want more information, because they will if they want more information. You don't have to say that, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anything else anyone else wants? Jackie, you have anything else you want to say?
Not tonight.
All right. So, don't forget to watch that training on tip calls, since that's what we talked about tonight. And I would say, you guys, you can scroll ahead 20 minutes. The first 20 minutes, not that necessary. It gets into the meat after 20 minutes, okay? It'll save you a little time.
Were you on the training before this? Was everyone on the training before this?
Yeah.
And was everyone on the field call?
Yeah.
That coaching guide's going to be pretty crazy. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have a hard copy yet, right? We got to print it. Is that what they said?
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
probably just going to go to Staples. And
Yeah, I'll
have
print
them
it at Staples too.
Although they alluded to we were going to be able to get a hard copy
At
soon.
convention.
Soon,
Maybe
right.
they'll give it at a convention.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Alrighty. So good night.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.